So, first, of course, check up our motivation. And in one way, the practice of Tantra is very beneficial because our normal identifications often don't help us very much. And so, therefore, thank you to Buddha Shakyamuni, and then thank you to Manjushri, and then for the manifestation of Yamantaka. Although Yamantaka is a very wrathful deity, the idea of, Manjushri's manifestation was to give us an opportunity to feel more self-confident. And so therefore, with the thought that my delusions are often very strong and my capacity to deal with them is actually rather weak, so therefore, thank you very much to Manjushri and to Yamantaka for giving me assistance. And really, if you think about it, it's no different than, for example, if you identify with a particular thing. So let's say you're driving a Porsche. Well, then you might identify with, I'm sexy and rich, or something. Or let's say you're driving a Chevy Malibu or something like that. Then you think, I'm a nice sort of homegrown person. So, often off of an object we identify and then get a reflection back. So in this case, of course, we identify with a very wrathful deity, but the reflection back is that I have confidence about who I am and what I'm doing. I have more capacity. I have someone assisting me in accomplishing my working to enlightenment. Okay, so first you often take a little bit of your inner offering, taste a little bit of it. If you don't have any, of course, and we try to organize that later. Feel that you receive the blessing of the lineage, particularly coming from Tsongkhapa, who's said to have had the second direct vision of Yamantaka. Okay, if you're practicing the practice very strongly, like continuously, then you of course always are Yamantaka. So you see yourself in a simple form, one face, two arms, with no implements. But generally, you can do it when you do your meditation because it's maybe more effective. So the lineage gurus go from the crown of your head up into space like a telescope, and as we say the prayer, you just feel that telescope shrinks down to your root guru who gave you the initiation and then absorbs into you. So with that thought, Namo Guru Vajravarahe. To the all-pervading Manjushri Vajra Lord Yamantaka, O Guru Jai Tsongkhapa, Father who embodies all victors, and to your sons, together with the gurus of the lineage, bestow on me, please, the two powerful attainments. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings and lead them to a state of enlightenment. I shall develop the sacred pureness Bodhichitta. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings and lead them to a state of enlightenment. I shall develop the sacred pureness Bodhichitta. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings and lead them to a state of enlightenment. I shall develop a sacred pureness Bodhichitta. Then you feel that the gurus absorb into you and you just sort of disappear, which means you go to the voidness, sort of in a quick form. You're just a state of consciousness without any form, open like clear light. And then with a feeling of compassion for the benefit of all, instantly I arise in the form of the glorious Vajrabharava with one face and two arms holding a cleaver and skull cup. You hold your Vajra in front of your chest and your bell up, down towards your stomach. The Vajra is method, the bell is wisdom. The two are the nature of ultimate bodhicitta. Om Sarva Tatha Gata Siddhi Vajra Samaya Tisha Esha Stam Darayami Hi 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 Hum 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 Pe Soha Om Vajraganda Hum. I shall please Vajrasattva and company. Moving the Vajra clockwise. Hum. By the excellence of moving the Vajra, I can free sentient beings from suffering. I shall bring them the phenomenon of liberation. Therefore, I take the Vajra with pleasure. Hum 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 Ho Ho Ho. Om Vajra Dhamarani Sambaranita Sababura Gajabragalini Midanada Sibura Vajra Sada Shamasani Hum Hum Ho Ho. Now your inner offering, if you have one, it's open in front of you. Om Hri Shri Vikrita Nana Om Pe. Om Sabhavashuddha Sarva Dharma Sabhavashuddho Hum. All becomes void. From the state of voidness, from Yam comes a blue bow-shaped wind mandala marked with banners, on top of which from Aram comes a red fire mandala, on top of which from Oz comes a grade of 3 human heads, on top of which from an Om comes a white skull cup, Inside it appear the 5 meats and the 5 nectars. On top of this are a white Om, a red Ah, and a blue Hum. From the Hum of my heart, light rays emanate, striking the wind. The wind moves, the fire blazes, and the substances inside the skull cup melt and boil. From the 3 syllables, light rays emanate in order, hooking back the 3 Vajras. These then fall into the skull cup and melt. By means of the Hum, the faults of color, odor, and potential are cleansed. By means of the Ah, it transforms into nectar. By means of the Om, it increases and becomes huge. Om Ah Hum, Om Ah Hum, Om Ah Hum. Now, when you do the inner offering, when you do the Om Ah Hum, you should feel the problems of that day, that week, or the virus. All of those go into the inner offering. And what is the inner offering? It's actually Bodhichitta. It's the ability to transform everything into enlightenment. And so you take all of your problems, whatever they may be, and feel that they are part of the inner offering, which means your practice, the transformation of your aggregates, and that therefore it actually is bodhicitta. Then take your vajra in your belt, sprinkle a little bit. Om Ri Shri Vi Krita Nana Hom Pe. Om Sabhavashuddha Sarva Dharma Sabhavashuddha Ham. All becomes void. From a state of voidness, from Ah comes broad and extensive skull cups, inside of which are Hums. The Hums melt and come offerings for the nature of the 3 specialities. Om Aragam Ahom, Om Bhajam Ahom, Om Gende Ahom, Om Bushbe Ahom, Om Dube Ahom, Om Aloge Ahom, Om Nimande Ahom, Om Shaka Ahom. Vajra in front of your heart. Radiant is Vajrabharava with 1 face and 2 arms. From the Hum and the lotus and the sun disk at my heart, light rays emanate, illuminating the boundless realms of the universe, bringing forth in the space before me Vajrabharava, together with the gurus, encircled by the hosts of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, wrathful deities, and knowledge holders residing therein. The light rays dissolve back into my heart. Now you circle with I bow to the lotus feet, O Vajra holder, my dear-like guru, by whose kindness I instantaneously attain the state of great bliss. Supreme form, supremely great fury, hero enjoying supreme objects. You act to tame those difficult to tame. O Vajrabhairava, I prostrate to you. From light rays of the seed syllable of my heart come white Charchika, blue Varahi, red Sarasvati, and green Gauri, who hold various offering materials in their hearts and make offerings. Om Hri Shri Ha, Om Pe, Om Ritrita Nana Dusan Sapatama Ka Ga Ga, Om Kumara Rupini Ja Ja Om Pe, Om Hri Ha Ye Pe, Om Dita Lochana Ritrita Nana Mahata, Atata Hasana Dinaditiye Soha, Om Vajranimande Ahom, Om Indra Shata Ahom. I confess all my negativities, clearing out those arising and already accrued. And before your eyes, I give my word not to do them again. I likewise rejoice in the merits and dedicate them fully to that which leads to bliss. I take refuge in the triple gem. I shall liberate all sentient beings and lead them to a state of enlightenment. I shall develop the sacred peerless bodhicitta. To you who are the ocean of excellent qualities, I offer my body. In order to attain the 3 Buddha bodies in pristine awareness, I shall devote myself with extremely pure faith to the methods of generosity and so forth, which are the path for the enlightened Buddhas, their sons and daughters. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please give me your attention. I, who am called from this time onwards until my enlightenment, shall develop a sacred peerless bodhicitta, just as the protector Buddhas of the 3 times have done to ensure their enlightenment. I shall uphold all the general and specific tantric vows and commitments of the 5 Buddha families without exception. I shall free those who have not been freed and liberate those who have not been liberated. I shall give breath to those without breath and lead all sentient beings to a state beyond sorrow. May all sentient beings be endowed with bliss. May all sentient beings be parted from suffering. May all sentient beings never be parted from bliss. May all sentient beings be placed in a state of equanimity, unshaken by dualistic conceptions about grasping to consciousness and objects for the 8 worldly feelings. Om Sabhavashuddha Sarva Dharma Sabhavashuddho Ham. Om Sunyata Yana Vajrasavatmako Ham. Because I myself, the deities of the field of merit, and all other phenomena or imputations on dependent arisings, everything becomes void, having the true nature of selflessness, and are parted from the 4 extremes such as eternalism, nihilism, and so forth, all becomes void. So at this point, you're going to do the 8 visions at the time of death, but you're also going to mix that with the whom dissolving. Now, why do you do that? Well, when death comes, you want to have something you can hang your mind on. And what it is your visualized object of the syllable whom dissolving. And by trying to hold mindfulness on that object as it gets more and more and more refined and finally arrives at the clear light, you can go through the various experiences of death with some level of consciousness, or bring consciousness to the most subtle level of mind by your mindfulness. And it's focused on the syllable whom. Various deities have different syllables. In this case, it is the syllable whom. So if we follow the way, I see myself as Yamantaka. In front of me is, for example, the Dalai Lama and all of the great gurus I've received initiations from. They and all of the universe absorbs into myself as a simple Yamantaka, one face and 2 arms. Then you feel that yourself as Yamantaka absorbs down to the whom syllable. All of that relates with the element of your earth, that is the hard physical parts of your body, are losing power. You can't lift your arms, you can't lift your legs, you can't lift your head, you're dying. So now you're just focused on the syllable whom, and like if you were in a train or a bus and you're watching the various landscape go by outside the windows, but you're inside, like that, your mind's focused on the whom syllable, but you allow the various phenomena to flow past you. So the second element is the element of the water, which is your blood circulation. That loses power, so it means your heart's not having the ability to pump its blood anymore. Of course, your body's very heavy. You can't move it. And actually, the second visionary experience is it's like the room is full of fog. I heard one explanation, it's like the clear fluid in your eyes becomes foggy. That's why the room appears to be foggy. Now your mind's focused on just the whom syllable floating in space with no other phenomena arising. So like if you're at 30,000 feet in a clear sky. Now the fire element starts to lose its power because of course your circulation finished, or it became very weak. And so from the extremities of your body, the heat goes away and it moves towards your chest. Of course, at this point, really, you can't see anything with your eyes anymore, but your consciousness experiences like sparks coming off of a fire or a dance of fireflies around you. You also have that experience sometimes if you hit your head or if you faint. So that's a more realistic experience that you might have had. Then finally, the air element's losing its power, which is your respiration. So it says you get the death rattle in your throat. At this point, you physically are almost dead. You're not having any consciousness of anything outside anymore, but you're seeing a little light at the end of a tunnel or a small flame that's just about ready to go out. And you're moving towards that, moving down a tunnel towards that. Now, at the end of the air element having any power, all you're seeing now is the little crescent moon of things. So all the whom syllable, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, but all of it absorbed up to the bar at the top of the whom, or if you did the HUM for English, the M and the U absorbed into the H. The H absorbs into the little moon disk that's above that, and that's then the start of the 5th experience, which is a subtle experience. So clinically, physically, you're dead, but your consciousness still is able to hold on to the various visualizations that you're doing to keep mindfulness. And it said then what arises to consciousness is like a white light. And it says the white element that's the crown of your head falls down inside your body towards your heart chakra. So the vision is white light, whitish colored light, like it says like dawn before the sun's come over the horizon. And your mind's focused on the little moon, crescent moon disk under a dot. Then the red element in your stomach starts to rise up towards your heart. And so the little crescent moon absorbs into the dot. At this point, then the red element rises up inside of your central channel to your heart. It's the sixth vision. Your mind is very subtle now. Most of the coarse thoughts that you might have ever had have all completely ceased. And you're just seeing this very tiny dot. It's sort of like a little dot with a squiggle. It's like a little seaman with a little tail going up off the top of it. So then the red element finishes, and now arises what's called the black experience. And Geshe Darge, one of my teachers, said it's like when you faint, you go unconscious for a little moment. And it's the mind goes into a dark or black experience. It's the seventh vision at the time of death. But your mind tries to hold, I have never had the experience, but it says you try to hold your mind as it goes through the curves of the little nada, the little squiggle above the dot. And so Geshe Darge said that it gets smaller and smaller. So it's just as the tail of the little seaman sort of gets very, very small. So also your focus, in the open space of the sky, clear sky at 30,000 feet, your mind's getting teeny, teeny, and it says down to the thickness of a hair, to half a hair, a quarter of a hair, and maybe to a molecule, and then to just an atom or something, and then it just disappears, and you have the eighth vision, which is the clear light consciousness, no form whatsoever. You are in the Dharmakaya, the most subtle level of consciousness that exists. There should be actually 4 experiences that you have with that. One is that there's just the experience of clear light. So just to give you an example, what's clear light? Between your eyes and the screen of your computer, between those two is clear light, because you can see through it. So your mind is that clear light. Incredibly subtle, like there's not even like atoms anymore. It's just like your consciousness is that clear light at like 30,000 feet, so that there's no forms whatsoever. So the first thing is that there's that clear light. The second thing is that it's empty of any self-existence. It means it's non-dualistic, so all the universal phenomena, if they were appearing, are interdependent with each other. But if you focus on the nature is empty of any self-existence. And so the nature is that open like the space of the sky. All phenomena are open, empty of any self-existence. As best as you understand that. The third vision, or the third thing, is bliss. So it's sort of like a little ecstasy in your nervous system. It says when your mind is that subtle, it has a natural bliss. It's not you have to fabricate it. But for us, then you just feel, I'm really, really happy. I'm in this most subtle level state of consciousness. I am clear light, empty of any self-existence, blissful. And then you have identity. I am that. So that's actually your personal liberation, your personal nirvana. You are completely liberated from all delusions and all problems. You are the Buddha's omniscient mind. You have attained your own Buddha mind. But due to your compassion, your wish to be a benefit to sentient beings, you're going to then manifest, and you manifest out of compassion. So it says, just follow the things. From the state of voidness appears the Vajra's surface, fence, roof, and ceiling, inside of which is a celestial mansion with 4 corners and 4 doors. So you're still sort of consciousness, but then you allow yourself to have a form. In the center of this, I arise as a causal Vajra holder Manjushri, seated on a variegated lotus, sun, and moon seat. I am Vira Manjushri. I emanate light rays from my heart and bring forth all the Tathagatas in the form of Vajra Bhairava. If you wanted to be a bit more elaborate, white Yamantakas come in front of you, gold-colored ones from your right side, red ones from your back side, green ones from your left side, and from above and below come blue ones. But again, don't get overly complicated. They dissolve into me, and I completely transform into the resultant Vajra holder, the great and glorious dark blue Vajra Bhairava. standing on a variegated lotus moon and sun seat. I have 9 faces, 34 arms, and 16 legs, in the pose of the right legs bent and the left outstretched. And my heart is a wisdom being, youthful Manjushri, whose heart is marked by the womb, the concentration being. So your big form is Yamantaka. Manjushri in your heart is your astral body, and the syllable whom is your Dharmakaya. Okay, pick up your Vajra and bell and do the hooking mudra. From the womb of my heart, light rays emanate, bringing forth in their natural abodes the wisdom beings and power and deities. The wisdom beings absorb Ja, Hum, Bam, Ho. The empowering beings and grant empowerment, and Excobia adorns the crown of my head. Now, in the sadhana, it says very short, but you can do a longer version. Om Yamantaka Aragam Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Bhadyam Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Gende Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Bhushbe Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Dube Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Aloke Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Niwande Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Shabda Praticha Hun Soha. O Yamantaka Hom Te Om Hom. Now, when you're doing those, you should feel that offering gods and goddesses come out of your heart. Let's say Om Yamantaka, they come out. You do the snapping mudra. You roll your hands and you water for your mouth. You feel your mouth gets blissful. You send all the offering goddesses back in your heart. Now, whether you just sort of have they instantly appear out and instantly come back in, depends on just what you want to do. Then you have Om Yamantaka, water for your feet. Your feet are blissful. Pratitsa Om Soha. And then water for your chest. It's Gende. Flowers is for your eyes. Dube is for your nose. Aloke is for your eyes. Newandi is for your mouth. Shabda is for your ears. So if you're doing a more gradual practice, you would actually have each of those sense doors get a little bit blissful, which is helping you get closer to understanding voidness. Then when you do Om Yamantaka Hom Pe Om Hom, it says that the thumb and the ring finger are like the two organs, male organ and female sex organ. And when they touch, of course, there's bliss. That's how you feel that you generate the bliss. And that's just, again, it's waking up your nervous system. It's not about sexuality. It's just your nervous system now is much more tingly. Then you, of course, do prayer. So supreme form, supremely great fury, hero enjoying supreme objects. You act to tame those difficult to tame, O Vajrabhairava, I prostrate to you. Then, at the sun disk of my heart, the syllable Om, surrounded by the mantra rosary. Okay, so first it's Arabhasanadi. That's considered a peaceful mantra. So in your heart, in the heart of Manjushri, is a moon cushion. On top of that is the spinning swords, and so there's 6 blades of the swords horizontal, and in between each of those is the syllable Om Arabhasana, and then the 7th syllable is the D, which stands in the middle. There is a visualization for that, an actual image of that, and I'll send it to you if you ask for it. So then you do that, and then you just feel there's like a supernova pulsar of white light, clarifying energy in your heart. Om Arabhasanadi, Om Arabhasanadi, Om Arabhasanadi. You feel that the Arabhasana mantra, the pulsar of light in your chest, of course, completely illuminates your own body and mind, and also benefits all sentient beings' bodies and minds. Om Arabhasanadi, Om Arabhasanadi. Now, with the third one, there's a D syllable on your tongue, and as you go D, You feel it generates lots of energy, vibrates on your tongue, and then you swallow the saliva, it slides down your throat and absorbs into the D syllable in your heart. Om Arabhazana Di Om Arabhazana Di Om Arabhazana Di. Now feel that the moon cushion turns into a red sun disk in the heart of Manjushri, and there's 3 rings, like large, middling, and small, with the 3 mantras. Okay, the visualization you do is from the Hun syllable. A little string of Yamantakas comes up and out your big nostril on the right side, and then as soon as they just leave the nostril, you can feel they go to all directions and work for the benefit of sentient beings. You don't have to be too worried about where they go or hover. Just feel like, just like when you turn a light bulb on in a room, the light immediately goes to the 10 directions everywhere. It doesn't have to think about it. Just like that, the Yamantaka, as soon as they leave your right nostril, just immediately go to all directions, just like a light bulb. And then at some point, then so you do that, and then at some point you just feel that then the Yamantakas come back in the left nostril, and you can continue to think they're coming out the right nostril. It's a bit of an exercise for your imagination. But then some of them come back in the left nostril, go down inside and enter back into the Hum syllable in the heart of Manjushri in your chest. So, Om Yama Raja Satomea Yamendoro Nayodaya Yada Yoni Raya Chaya Yacha Yacha Niramaya Hum Pe So. Om Yama Raja Satomea Yamendoro Nayodaya Yada Yoni Raya Chaya Yacha Yacha Niramaya Pe So. O Yama Raja Satomaya Yamendoro Nayodaya Yada Yoni Raya Chaya. Om Yama Raja Satomaya Yamendoro Nayodaya Yata Yoni Raya Chaya Yacha Yacha Niramaya Hum Pe Soha. Same visualization for the next mantra, which is the second ring in. Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana Om Be Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana Om Be Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana. Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana Om Be Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana Om Be Om Hri Shri We Gri Dana Om Be. O Yamantaka Om Be, same visualization. O Yamantaka Om Be Yamantaka. Each mantra has its own sort of energy or feeling. The Yamaraja mantra says to generate energy or chi in your body. Om Hri Shri is like cutting through things. It's very, very sort of sharp. And Yamantaka Hompe is like primordial wisdom, like death is a reality. I have access to that primordial understanding. I change my life and my attitude because of that. Om Yamantaka Hompe, Yamantaka. O Yamantaka Hompe, O Yamantaka Hompe, O Yamantaka Hompe. purify for any mistakes. O Yamantaka Samaya Manu Palaya Yamantaka Te no Pratita Trido Mevawa Sutoshayo Mevo Suboshayo Mevawa Anuraga Mevawa Sarva Siddhi Mepriyacha Sarva Karma Sutsam Chittam Triyam Buru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Yamantaka Mame Muja Bhagabawa Maha Samaya Sava Ahom Pe. You can make the offerings in a shorter form this time. Om Yamantaka, a little bit slowly though. Aragam Padyam Yende Wushbe Dube Aloke Niwende Shapta Praticha Hom Soha. O Yamantaka Hom Pe Om Hom. Supreme form, supremely great fury, hero enjoying supreme objects. You act to tame those difficult to tame. O Vajrabhara, I prostrate to you. Now, one thing we should have done it before we did the mantras, but it really doesn't matter, you can do it after the mantras, is a 2-minute session of I am Yamantaka. Now, why? Because our mind works off identifications. Let's say, for example, Robert had a really good haircut today, so he thinks, wow, I'm feeling really good. Now, the funny thing is, Robert can't even see his hair, but he saw it when he looked in the mirror, and he knows Robert's really handsome right now, And so when Robert steps outside or he's with his wife or whatever, just because he has this idea in his mind, this identification of, hey, my hair looks pretty good, I'm a pretty handsome guy. I am a handsome guy, and then he projects that energy. That's identification. Now, when we identify with Yamantaka, it's much more beneficial for us because our mundane identification might be we're fat, we're short, we're skinny, we're handsome, we're not handsome. Not so beneficial. But Yamantaka is, of course, very wrathful. So what it is that I have great capacity. I like to call it Vajra determination. I am immutable. I am indestructible. So even though you don't have much sense of a vision, even if you can't do a vision, you can have the sense of I am Yamantaka. Just like when you're wearing a hat, you don't see the hat, but you say, hey, I look handsome today. I'm wearing a hat. Just like that. You just have I am Yamantaka. I work for the benefit of sentient beings. I have capacity and power. Now, if you have a little bit of the form come up, you can have one face and 2 arms. And if you can, then of course you have the 34 arms and 16 legs and all the faces and everything. And all that just means greater and greater capacity to work for the benefit of sentient beings. My 16 legs give me great stability when I stand on them. That's the understanding of the voidness. I'm not easily pushed over. I have 16 legs to stand on. I have 34 arms, which is many capacities to work with my delusions, to help work with other sentient beings' delusions. I have great capacity. And I have a very strong voice, a strong presence. I have 9 heads, which all say the mantra very powerfully. Now, we've done the mantras, so in this case, because you maybe generated a little bit of feeling about being Yamantaka, you do 2 minutes of I am Yamantaka, identification, and like I explained it, I work for the benefit of sentient beings with great capacity. I am Yamantaka. Now you take your inner offering and you're going to bless it. And remember, when you do Om Home, you take the particular problems of the day. If you're being egocentric, or you got angry, or you were possessive, or you were needy, or you were low self-esteem, you throw those things in the inner offering when you go Om Home, which means you are taking your own issues and turning them into a cause of enlightenment. You're putting it in the fluid of your Bodhichitta. So you flick a little bit of offering. Om Ri Shri Vi Kri Ta Na Na Hom Pe. Om Sabhavashuddha Sarva Dharma Sabhavashuddho Hum. All becomes void. From a state of voidness, from Yam comes a blue bow-shaped wind mandala marked with banners, on top of which from Ram comes a red fire mandala, on top of which from Oz comes a grade of 3 human heads, on top of which from Ah comes a white skull cup. Inside it appear the 5 meats and 5 nectars. On top of this are a white Om, a red Ah, and a blue Hum. From the whom of my heart, light rays emanate, striking the wind moves, the fire blazes, and the substance inside the skull cup melt and boil. From the 3 syllables, light rays emanate in order, hooking back the 3 vajras. These then fall into the skull cup and melt. By means of the whom, the faults of color, odor, and potential are cleansed. By means of the ah, transforms into nectar. By means of the om, it increases and becomes huge. Om ah hum, om ah hum, om ah hum. Now we're going to offer this to Yamantaka. Instantly there appears before me the complete supported mandala of the glorious solitary hero Vajrabharava and the supported deities. Cooking Mudra. From the whom of my heart, light rays emanate, bringing forth the wisdom mandala of the glorious solitary hero Vajrabharava together with the directional protectors. Ja, Hum, Bam, Ho. The wisdom beings become non-dual with the symbolic ones. The tongues of these guests transform whums into white, single-pointed vajras with tubes of light. The color white is for purification. The color gold or yellow would be for increasing lifespan merits and good karma. The color red would be to make you more influential. We're offering to Yamantaka, so we're offering our inner offering, which is the source of great bliss, our Bodhichitta, which also has all of our problems and issues in the process of working on them, and we're offering this to Yamantaka. Om Ri Shri Vi Gri Tanana Hom Pe. Vajrabharava Adibati Idam Balinda Kakakai Kai Hom Pe Soha. Om Ri Shri Vi Gri Tanana Hom Pe. Vajrabharava Adibati Idam Balinda Kakakai Kai Hom Pe Soha. Om Hri Shri Vi Gri Dhanana Hom Be Vajrabharava Adibati Idam Balinda Kakakai Kai Hom Be Soha. The mantra Kakakai means eat, please eat, please eat. So you're saying, Yamantaka, please eat my bodhicitta, please eat my problems. Now help me, of course, be more effective. Make offerings to Yamantaka in the space before you. Hoy Yamantaka Aragam Bhadyam Yende Pushpe Dube Aloke Niwande Shakta Vatita Hontoha Hoy Yamantaka Hom Pe Oma Hom. As the wisdom body of non-duality, you are extraordinary and all-pervasive. As a compassion extending equally to all, you are the father of all conquerors. As a Dharmadhatu, you are likewise the mother of all conquerors. As a wisdom being, you act as the son of all conquerors. I prostrate to you, a glorious Manjushri, who knew everything is complete. Although in the Dharmakaya there is neither love nor hate, yet in order to tame all evil ones in the 3 realms without exception, you display the body of the great king of fury as a compassionate means. I prostrate to you, terrifying Bhairava Yamantaka. Now then you bless your inner offering with the next mantra, and then you offer to the 15 directional protectors. Om Yamaraja Satomeya Yamendoro Nayodaya Yata Yoni Raya Che Yachanira Maya Hom Pe Pe Soha. Okay, now the mudra that I do with this, it's in the video that's on the Yamantaka org. You do center, left, right, back towards your chest, left, further away, right. That's the 7 inner protectors. Then with just one hand, you do the extended ones, which are in the cemeteries. It's just to the front of you, to your right, behind you, to your left, back to in front of you, then to the south, southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast, or sorry, northwest, below you, and to the northeast. Okay, so Om Bahujrana Yapatala Charya Monge Charya Monge whatever. Okay, that's over. Om Bahujrana Yapatala Charya Monge Charya Tabur Vakinan Katashina Digya Ajimanam Peyutara Tikaya. Omi Shriya Shriya Viki Triko Taye Na Anate Hunjo Be Sarvabhuta Be. Om Bahujrana Yapatalacharya Monge Charya Taburva Nikan Kadashina Dikaya Humba Jimanam Peutara Tikaya Omi Shriya Shriya Viki Triko Taye Na Anate Hunjope Sarvabhuta Be Om Bahujrana Yapatalachari Monge Chariata Burva Niganan Kadashina Digya Humba Jimanam Peyutara Tikaya Omi Shriya Shriya Viki Triko Taye Na Anate Hunjope Sarvabhuta Be. Make the offerings to them. Om Tashatika Loka Pala Sabare Vari Aragam Bhadyam Gen Bujbe Dube Aloke Niwande Shapta Bratisha Hum Soha Om Tashatika Loka Pala Sabare Vari Om Hum. Now what you've just done is you've invited all the spirits, for example, in Panama, in Costa Rica, or in Boise, Idaho, all of the spiritual entities that might be there, and you just made an offering of your bodhicitta to them, and you said, please assist me. So then you go, O Karma Yama Ogresses Dakinis. Now, you ring your bell when you do this to bring attention to yourself, that you're saying, hey, notice me. I'm doing these prayers. I'm asking for you, you mundane spirits and such. Give me assistance in my Dharma practice. O Karma Yama Ogresses Dakinis, spirits, zombies, and yogas that commands the presence of the Sudura and Dharma Lord Manjushri, pledge to tame the demons and protect the teachings for all of you who are the outer and inner protectors. Without exception, I bow in turn with a wishful mind. O directional protectors with your entourage, please act with virtuous conduct to still all interference to my practice of the sacred Dharma. Okay, and then to say I'm sorry for any mistakes I might have done. O Yamantaka Samaya Manu Palaya Yamantaka Teno Pratitsa Trito Mevowa Sutokayo Mevo Supokayo Mevowa Anuragda Mevowa Sarva Siddhi Meprayacha Sarva Karma Sutsame Chittam Shriyam Guru Ha 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 ho Bhagawan Yamantaka Ma Me Munj Yamantaka Bhawa Maha Samaya Sabha Ahom Pe. The guests of the offering, together with their entourage, return to their own abodes, and you can just do a little mudra like that. You let them go, because you hook them in, and then you want to say, I want to let you go. The charnel grounds absorb to the celestial mansion. The celestial mansion absorbs to myself. I absorb to the wisdom being. This absorbs to the whom. The concentration being. This absorbs to the clear light voidness. So it's a quick form of going to the voidness, dissolving everything. So now you're again this clear light space. You are Dharmakaya, without form, the most subtle level of mind, because you absorb to that. Then because of your compassion and wish to benefit both yourself and all sentient beings, instantly I arise in the form of the glorious Vajrabharava with one face and two arms, and the three syllables marking the three radiant places. That's Om Om. By virtue arising from my effort in this method and by my pure selfless wish, may all limitless sentient beings never be parted, but always be cared for, and birth by rebirth by the peaceful and wrathful Manjushris. Having manifested the enlightened state of the seven features of union and the nature of the five Buddha bodies, which lasts as long as space endures, may I instantly lead all infinite beings quickly and easily to this very state. May there be auspicious as the root and lineage gurus. May there be auspicious as the Gidams and host of deities. May there be the auspiciousness of the consorts and dakinis. May there be the auspiciousness of the Dharma protectors and guardians of the teachings.